Alright, let's do a quick introduction to Body.build. You can go straight to the app, there is no sign up, there is no payment, it's completely free. In the top left of the app, you can view and create programs. Right now, out of the box, there's just one pre-made program. It's a full body program with 2 alternating workouts, day A and day B, and we're doing 3 workouts per week. So straight out of the gate, you're probably thinking, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on here, there's a lot of colors. All right, let's dig into it. Um, the columns are the muscle groups that you want to train. Each workout defines some sets of exercises, and we visualize here how well these sets recruit the given muscle groups. Darker green means higher recruitment. So for example, for this chest supported machine row, it mainly recruits the rear delts and the lower and middle traps and the lats, but also a bit of biceps. Then there's this workout analysis section at the bottom that adds up all the recruitments and shows you your set volume for each muscle. Unlike other tools, it takes into account all volume, so also the partial volume. So for example, biceps in rows are counted for half. This is why volumes tend to be higher than some of the other reps, because the counting is more accurate. Day B has a similar section. And then we also have an analysis across the program as a whole. This is an average per week, even if the program doesn't neatly correspond to a week, like in this case, for example, because we work out 3 times per week and we alternate between day and B. So we just say that both day A and day B are done 3 times over the course of 2 weeks, and then it will just compute the stats on a per week basis. So let's have a look at the individual workouts. You'll see here that we have 2 big combo sets defined. The reason for that is that most people, the limiting factor for their program is how much time they have for training. And one of the tricks to optimize time is to program exercises that you can do in a quick succession at the gym without much rest, as long as you hit different muscles that do not overlap. So here we define a bunch of sets to cover most of the muscles, and we group them into combo sets, and we also paid attention to which equipment is used, so you're not constantly running from one side of the gym to the other. Like this combo set here, for example, it has exercises that all use dumbbells. Another way that sets Body.build apart from other apps is the many ways to tweak the form of an exercise, which is helpful to advanced users who want to really fine-tune their program or experiment with different cues and modifications to an exercise. So let's have a better look at, for example, the seated leg extension machine, one of my personal favorites. Let's click on the settings menu. There's basically 2 things here. There's modifiers and then there's cues. Now, modifiers are variations that are pretty well understood and not very contentious. Like for example, for the seated leg extension machine, if you lean back, you put more stretch on your quads and you can grow your rectus femoris better. So if we change this value here between upright and back, you can see that it actually adjusts the recruitment of that rectus femoris muscle. This way you can see the updated stats and really fine-tune your program. If you want more information about it, there's a link to the study here. There's a link to Manu Hanselmans' Instagram post where he talks about this. There's a lot of links throughout the app in various places, linking to content from sports scientists and well-respected authorities in the field. Now, cues, on the other hand, they're often a bit more speculative or they're more contentious. Most exercises will have a cue where you can say, I want to do a full range of motion or I want to do lengthened partials. In this case, for the leg extension specifically, there's a cue here to pull hard on the handles, as you may be able to get more tension on the quads. At least according to Jeff Nippert here, there's a link where he explains it on his Instagram. So if you want to learn more, you can just check that out. And actually, looking at his video now, I wonder if maybe we should add a cue for biting on your t-shirt, because I guess that might help grow your quads more too. Anyway, there's many, like fitness guys online that have their own cueing tips and their own anecdotes. So I think it's a good thing to put them all in the catalog here so you can try them out in your programs and see if they improve your gains. Ideally, you don't have to go scrolling through endless videos anymore on YouTube for random tips, as we try to collect all of them here. You'll see that some exercises have ratings. Some coaches on YouTube publish videos where they talk about their favorite exercises or they rank them from best to worst. It's not like a strong, important framework, but it can help. I started adding their ratings into the database here, and this is a work in progress, but it's already pretty useful, I think. Let's have a look at this standing cable bicep curl. This one has a rating of 10. And where does it come from? Well, apparently, Menno Henselmans has an article on his website where he talks about why these Bayesian curls are so good. Basically, that's why they get a rating of 10. But it's contingent on using this particular modifier on the exercise. It needs to be a Bayesian style curl, because that's what Menno was referring to specifically. And if we open the bicep curl and have a look at the modifiers, we can see again that the Bayesian here gets the rating of 10, but you can also do the standard one where you face the cable stack and it only has a rating of 7. Where does that 7 come from? Let's have a look. Apparently, Jeff Nippard ranked it in one of his YouTube videos here. Let's see. You can also do different forms. Bayesian with arms behind, Bayesian with arms behind and up. And if you want to know more, again, you just go to this particular video. So the idea is to just collect references to wherever these sports scientists talk about these specific exercises with specific form, and they give their rating, and then their ratings will appear here, and you can click through from here and go check out their videos, for example. So we already covered how within a workout we count up all the volume per muscle group, and then we did the same thing for the program as a whole. But there's another chart here, both for the workout as well as the program, which is how many of your sets have you defined that target a certain number of muscle groups. So for example, here we're looking at day B, and day B has 8 sets where you only target one muscle group. So those are obviously your isolations, whereas all the other sets are compounds that involve multiple muscles. Because for most people time is a limiting factor, you want to program more compounds. But on the other hand, if you have many exercises that hit many muscles, that can also get quite fatiguing. So here you can keep an eye on like your overall distribution, and I think a visualization like this will turn out quite handy when we start comparing different workout programs to see which one is more suitable to us. So if at any point something is not clear, you can always hit this help button. The help gives you a little bit more information about how everything works. And at the bottom there, we have links to the documentation of the app. I'm still building out the documentation, but for example, there's a quick start guide which might be helpful. Let's now have a look at defining your own program. At the top left, we can create a program and give it a name. You can kind of just follow the buttons that are drawing your attention. It will say add a workout, so you add a workout. Then we'll ask you to add a set to the workout. And there's 2 ways to add a set to the workout. First, you can use this button here to just add a set. It will show up in your workout and you need to configure it, choose an exercise, maybe change which cues or modifiers you want to use, and that's it. The second option is a shortcut for when you already know that you want to target a specific muscle. So for example, let's say we want to target the biceps. Then we can just click this button here, and now we can add a set for an exercise that targets just the biceps. And these are ordered by recruitment as well as by rating. So at the top, we have that Bayesian standing cable curl that had the rating of 10. And as you start scrolling down, you will see many exercises that fully recruit the biceps, but the ratings will go down for a variety of reasons. And as you keep scrolling down, you start seeing exercises that don't recruit the biceps as well, like rows, for example. So you choose your desired exercise, and let's add the bicep curl, for example. Note that still You can change the modifiers, you can change the cues, or even the exercise itself if you want to. Another thing to show is that you can drag and drop exercises. So let me just add some exercises first. Let's add this back extension, and then we'll add this face pull. Let's say we want to make the face pull the first one. You click on it, you hold it, and you can move it up to the first one. For this biceps curl, let's say we want to make a combo set with the face pull. You drop it on top of the face pull, and now you have a combo set. You want to add the back extension to the combo set, no problem. Drop it anywhere here, it will be part of the combo set. Drop it outside of it, and it will still be a standalone normal set. If you want to, you can just design your program here and leave it at that. But there's another tab, the Setup tab, which you may want to check out. First of all, you can have multiple profiles here for multiple people, or even for the same person over time. For example, I actually create a new profile for myself every couple of months because my weight and my body fat just keeps going down. So you fill in all the values here. Some of these are not obvious, and it is quite important to understand what these all mean. So every value has a little info button, which provides a pop-up with in-depth information. So anyway, let's just say we are dealing with an advanced trainee who does 3 workouts per week, energy balance, let's say he has a 10% calorie surplus. For these other values, you'll just need to read documentation, these little pop-ups. The important thing here is that you will have a base metabolic rate, and you can choose between 3 different formulas. Again, the formulas are explained in a little pop-up. This results in certain target calories intake for your resting days, your training days, and your average day. And then we also calculate your recommended intensities and your recommended workout volume. The intensity ranges, these are the percentages of 1 rep max. Notice how we have 65 and 85 here. So now those are your 2 options when you configure your sets for an exercise, but you can also override these values. Like for example, let's override them to 70, 80, and 90, and then those will be the values that you can choose when configuring sets in the workout. But I'm actually not super happy with how this works right now, so it will probably change anyway. We also computed the recommended number of sets per muscle per week. If you start changing these things, for example, if you go into a cut, the volume will go down. If you are female, the volume will go up. Based on all these parameters, this value will change. Of course, you can change it to whatever you like. You can just say, ignore this. I just want 10 sets of every muscle group per week. And by the way, this includes your direct volume as well as your indirect volume, like we said before, which is why these numbers may seem high at first. You can also do muscle-specific overrides. So for example, let's say you have 10 per muscle group, but you want 15 for biceps, or you want abs 8, or whatever, for example. These targets will actually be used here. So let's have a look at the demo program. So here we actually compare all the volumes in the program with what is configured in our setup tab. All of them are red right now because the program doesn't meet the requirement volume, except for the triceps, where we do have enough volume. You don't need to obsess too much over these numbers, but it can be helpful to just think through your desired volumes for all of your muscles, set your goals, and then confirm that your program matches your goals accordingly. And it's fine and expected even that some of these volumes will be fairly low. It's pretty common, for example, for the hamstring short head or the tricep long head to have lower volume, or maybe even the soleus. And then finally, we have the equipment here at the bottom. So by default, everything's enabled. There's a couple of presets like basic gym stuff or no equipment whatsoever. So obviously you can just kind of click and unclick things. And the only thing that this really affects is the exercise selection. So if you mark that you don't have certain equipment available, then when you go and add a set and you look for an exercise here, then those exercises will not show up, obviously. So that's just a little helper. Oh, and just one last thing. Here at the bottom, there's a program breakdown. This is very much a work in progress, but this basically analyzes your program and verifies that you train your muscles at different muscle lengths and in different movements. This is more for advanced bodybuilders. They need to carefully select exercises that are complementary to fully train each muscle. Maybe not for everyone. And anyway, this is a work in progress. And that is how Body.build works today. We saw how you can put in your personal parameters, how you can calculate your calorie needs and your recommended volumes and intensities. We saw how you can customize your desired workout volume and your available equipment. We looked at how you can use the demo program, how you can customize it or make your own, how to choose exercises based on their recruitment and ratings, and how to make sure you end up with a coherent, sensible program with a good distribution of compounds and isolations, and some tricks to optimize the time spent in the gym. I have a lot more planned to help you when you're actually at the gym, to follow your program, to look up cues, to track your statistics, tools to further adjust your program based on your observed gains, and so on. All of that is coming. For now, please let me know what you think. I'm really curious for your feedback. It would be quite helpful. You can leave a comment on YouTube or go to our homepage. From here, you can find our Discord community or reach out via email or Twitter. Now go and lift some weights.